better, but he won't start for the Bears as we get ready for tip starting lineups. First for the second-ranked Jayhawks, Frank Mason the third, Devontae Graham. That backcourt has really been playing well. Wayne Selden, Perry Ellis, and Landon Lucas, one of the guys that Miles was talking about. He has really taken over that starting spot in the Jayhawks lineup. On the other side of things, for number 19 Baylor, Lester Medford transitioned from two guard to point guard this year. Al Freeman, Ish Wainwright has emerged. He's a kid from Kansas City, close to KU's campus. Torian Prince and the sophomore Jonathan Motley. The highlighter uniforms for the Bears tonight. Meanwhile, a lot of the crowd participating in like a white-themed shirt night in the Farrell Center. And Kansas in some throwback-style jerseys. We'll talk about those as we go along, but here we go. Dave Fleming, Miles Simon, ready to go from Waco. Mike Stewart, one of the officials, will throw up the jump ball, and Lucas bats it out of bounds. It's Baylor ball to start the game.
Now for this Baylor team, Dave, I want to see them get the ball to Jonathan Motley early in this game. See how he goes against the size of Landon Lucas. Landon Lucas has been excellent on the defensive end as of late. Gave Devin Williams a ton of problems a little over a week ago at Fog Allen.
And you do figure the early minutes of this one are important for Baylor based on what happened the first time these two teams met. There is Motley getting an early touch and an early bucket.
And Lucas actually did a good job defensively. He kept moving his feet no matter where Motley was pivoting, but Motley's still able to get the finish.
These teams met back on January 2nd. It was a Big 12 opener for both, and it was a blowout at Fog Allen. At one point early in that game, what was it, 24-4? Kansas was up right from the tip. Zone look from Baylor. They'll play a lot of zone, as they always do. Wayne Selden in the corner, way short. Lucas, offensive rebound, missed the putback, gets it again, missed it again. It's off of Baylor, though. Kansas keeps the ball.
Now, those are the opportunities that Landon Lucas has got to finish. He's in perfect position for the offensive rebounds, but he has such a tough time going up quickly. It takes him time to gather. He brings the ball down too low sometimes, and he's not able to finish those two opportunities.
Yeah, it's almost like that sequence is the perfect example of the good and the bad with Lucas. He's an excellent offensive rebounder, just doesn't always convert those rebounds into points.
It's going to be important to see how the Jayhawks attack this zone. At Fog Allen Fieldhouse, the Baylor Bears only played 7 possessions of zone that whole basketball game. Part of it is because the Jayhawks jumped on them early, and Scott Drew felt his team was trying to play catch-up for the most part. But the Baylor zone as of late has been tremendously effective.
Yeah, Bill Self was talking about that with us. The 13th year head coach at Kansas, with such a remarkable run of success. He and Scott Drew together are the 2 longest tenured coaches in the Big 12. Devontae Graham, who's been playing at such a high level. Selden off the side of the backboard, but finds Graham open, missed the 3. Baylor's having a hard time getting a defensive rebound. In fact, they haven't gotten one yet. Perry Ellis, no whistle, the basket's good.
Well, Ellis might have gotten away with one right there as he goes to the spin move, and now Scott Drew gets teed up here within the first 2 minutes of this basketball game.
Wow.
Now you watch the spin by Perry Ellis. It's pretty good defense by Medford, and that's a little forearm right to the chest. Medford beat him to the spot there. I think Scott Drew has rightfully so, has some beef with that no call.
And Mike Stewart did not waste any time. The technical, you said it before we're even 2 minutes in. Frank Mason shooting the free throws. Mason played so well this weekend on the road against one of Kansas's big rivals, in-state rival, Kansas State. Mason made 1 of 2. Let's see if we can spot Scott Drew. He was definitely upset.
I mean, he never leaves the coach's box. I don't know. I can't tell if any language was used toward the official there.
I mean, sometimes I try to see, was there a warning, some sort of warning given, anything like that? Didn't look like it to me.
And in a game of this magnitude and the intensity that's going to be brought, I would say the officials need to err on the side of caution and give him a warning, blow the whistle, tell him to calm down. He'll settle down and try to get his point across.
Good defense by Graham, who steals the ball away. Kansas has a 3-on-2 advantage, and Ellis gets swatted by Prince out of bounds.
Nice play by Torian Prince as the Jayhawks had numbers 3-on-2 advantage. But Prince stays active, keeps away from the body contact, and prevents the basket.
Great defense from Prince. First time Kansas had the ball, 5 offensive rebounds that one possession. They took 7 shots. 6 on the first possession, 1 now with the shot that was blocked by Ellis.
Now, even though the Jayhawks are a great three-point shooting team, you don't want to see them get too happy from behind the arc early. You want to soften up the defense, get to the rim, get to the paint a couple times.
Good defense, shot clock winding down, and right before the buzzer goes off, Lucas from Selden.
And that's great execution. Ball movement side to side 2 or 3 times. Landon Lucas gets diagonal of where Wayne Selden is, and Selden delivers it perfectly.
So it's 5-2 Jayhawks. Graham almost with another steal. Lester Medford uses a screen from Wainwright, gets Motley another touch, sort of fumbles the pass, but controls and scores off the glass. How good has he been?
His development has been tremendous. He's a redshirt sophomore. We mentioned the 25 points per game.
Coming off the monster week, there were several publications around the country that called him the National Player of the Week for his performance in those 2 games.
Well, they leave him one-on-one in the post, but he's so long, his pivot step took him away from the defense right there, and you see the excellent touch off the glass. You know, he really grew from his redshirt year where he's competing against Isaiah Austin, Corey Jefferson, and Rico Gathers. That really helped him and shaped him into the player that he's become today.
He's gotten stronger. He's still very quick, very athletic, shooting the ball so much better. Kansas ball up by 1.
Baylor zone so active, so long at nearly every position.
Yeah, that's a good sign for the Bears. Mason contested 3 is good.
Jayhawks so patient, though. They get that ball into the high post. Perry Ellis, really an underrated passer. Knew he didn't have the shot there, but he sucked in enough of the defense, and Mason was ready to shoot.
You mentioned their 3-point shooting, 4th best percentage team in the country. Medford goes right by Mason.
Medford having a phenomenal year. 7 assists per game, top 10 in the nation in that category. He's excellent in the pick and roll. He's hit 2 game winners this season against Texas Tech and Vanderbilt.
Ellis had it knocked away by Medford out of bounds. Kansas will keep it when we come back to Waco. Nice start to a very good game. Kansas with the 2-point lead early.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is
early lead.
Yeah, truly one of the most amazing streaks in college basketball history, to do it in this conference and show up night in and night out and get every team's best shot. What a credit to Bill Self and these Kansas teams through those years.
And I think for a lot of people, this felt like the year where they were vulnerable. They had a couple of ugly losses kind of midway through conference play. Oklahoma was playing so well. Buddy Hield and company looked like maybe they were going to be the team.
Well, I think the down point obviously was when they lose at Oklahoma State by double figures, and they really got manhandled in the second half there.
Shot clock violation. So coming out of the timeout, everybody forgot that it was not a full shot clock, and Bill Self can't believe it.
And almost for Kansas, that should never happen. You have Devontae Graham and Frank Mason, really 2 point guards on the floor, and then you have Perry Ellis, the experienced senior, for nobody to give a glance to the clock. That's a big-time mistake by the Jayhawks.
Medford with Mason right on his hip.
If I'm Baylor, I keep going back to Motley. Right now he's being guarded by Perry Ellis. Let's see if Ellis can handle him, and maybe you can even try to draw a foul.
Yeah, they're trying to get the ball inside. Rico Gathers also, by the way, in for the first time off the bench. Shot clock winding down. Al Freeman with the penetration. A lot of contact there. Gathers offensive rebound and put back.
Well, I talked to Rico Gathers before the game. He said he's been dealing with this illness for quite a while, for actually a majority of the season, and they couldn't be diagnosed. It got diagnosed last week. He's on some antibiotics, hasn't been able to practice, but he gives the team everything that he's got when he's in there.
That's a travel.
And here you see Gathers, the contact there by Lucas, and then Gathers just carving out space. He's too strong for Devontae Graham and uses his body to get him out of the way.
Still excellent numbers despite battling that illness most of the year. By percentage, he is the best offensive rebounder in college basketball.
It's amazing. He gets 20% of the team's misses. So like 1 out of every 5 misses is going to go in Rico Gathers' hands.
They double team Gathers, and he'll dribble away from the double team. Nice pass to Prince in the corner. 3 was short. Motley goes over the back. So that's a foul against Jonathan Motley, who had those 2 quick buckets. He will come out of the game, at least for the moment. TJ Maston, the sophomore, comes in. Ellis back to Selden. That one too strong. Gathers defensive board. Foul against the Jayhawks.
Well, good attack there by the Baylor Bears as Rico gathers the long rebound, finds the point guard Medford, and Taurean Prince was streaking down the court. Mason and Graham not back in that instance because they were both below the foul line as Selden took the jumper from the top of the key.
So Prince at the free throw line to shoot 2. Foul against Wayne Selden, his first. And the first free throw goes down. Another Super Saturday on the hardwood. 2 big-time matchups in the ACC, and this is indeed a big one. North Carolina and Virginia, 6:30 Eastern on ESPN. Over on ABC. How about that matchup in Oklahoma City? Warriors and Thunder on the NBA side. Those Saturday night NBA games have been so much fun.
I feel like the Thunder are kind of soul-searching right now after they get blitzed by the Cavs the other night. Kevin Durant, had some comments about his team that they need to get a little bit better and a little bit tougher. It's not about the X's and O's.
I still feel like they may be the top challenger when it's all said and done. But you're right, not playing great this week. You better play great when the Warriors come to town. Shot clock already under 10 against this very active zone. Ellis was fouled, and they'll call it a shooting foul. So Scott Drew is not real happy with the whistles in the early minutes of this one. He's already been given a technical foul. So he's got to be careful the rest of the way. That foul against Medford. Friendly roll for Perry Ellis.
Dave, Perry Ellis not getting enough national recognition, in my opinion, for the type of season that he's having. 16-6 overall, but in conference play, which to me is the most important indicator of how you're playing on the season, he's getting 18 points, 6 rebounds, shooting nearly 50% from the 3, over 50% from the field. But he just quietly goes about his business in a great manner every night in and night out, brings his hard hat, he defends, plays tough, plays smart, scores every night.
Dangerous pass, almost stolen. Lindsey saves it, though, to King McClure, the freshman, blocked by Sheck Diallo, a Kansas freshman. Shot clock did not reset. Here's Prince, pull up, contested jumper. Rebound Maston. So now Baylor working the offensive glass. That one out of bounds off of who? Off of Kansas. But for a guy who's not feeling well, Rico Gathers is very active.
Well, he's going to give his best for the minutes that he can go tonight. Until he gets fatigued, then he'll call for a sub. But he's not going to let a little stomach virus slow him down. One of the toughest players in college basketball.
Quick shot, no good. And Green pushes Prince to the ground. That's a foul against Brandon Green. Green had been playing real well lately, but did not score on the road in Manhattan over the weekend.
I felt it was like a tough situation for Green because he was getting hounded by the fans there, obviously for the late game dunk that happened at Fall Allen Fieldhouse, and he was just super hesitant.
Well, they call that a travel. So an extra step for Prince. Turnover against the Bears.
But Brandon Green is a guy that can change the game in a matter of 2 or 3 possessions because he can light you up so quick from behind the arc. Let's see if he can be effective getting the gaps of this zone. Kansas guards got to get some penetration and maybe find Green spotting up.
And you were talking about Saturday. Bill Self was not happy with him for being hesitant. He wants him to shoot the ball. Nice pass over the top. Diallo, though, had it knocked away. I thought that one was going to get there. Now another whistle. This one again against the Jayhawks. So the foul on the freshman, Sheck Diallo. It's been an up and down year for him. Prince will go to the bench. Ish Wainwright back in.
Well, for Diallo, it's really been a learning process because he was only able to get game acclimated late in the game and couldn't be around and be in practices all the time and learning. It's been a big adjustment period for him.
They said that was off of Baylor. I thought Frank Mason touched it last, but see if we can get a quick look. Does it touch Mason? Yeah.
Absolutely. That touched Mason.
And now they call a foul against Baylor as Kansas inbounds it. Well, I could see that from where we were sitting pretty clearly, I thought. Well, that's a whiff.
You ready for baseball season? I see bringing in the whiffs.
Swing and a miss by the officials. Still a lot of hoops to be played, that's for sure. Kansas ball, tie game. Ellis.
Someone has to get in the short corner for Kansas or the high post. That's really the soft spots in this Baylor zone.
They find Green, quick release three.
And that's where he can change the game. But how about Perry Ellis almost playing a point forward spot? The flash to the high post, draws 2 defenders, and Green with a hand in his face. Quick release, catch and shoot. Something he didn't do on Saturday night.
Gathers down low against Jamari Traylor. Spin move for Rico Gathers. Left hand, couldn't finish. Kansas has the ball. This time Ellis, one dribble and shoots and scores.
He's so good. Having an All-American type season. Now he's going to be one of the candidates. There's probably about 7 to 10 guys that are going to be first-team All-American, and Perry Ellis is heavily in that conversation.
So Baylor calls a timeout. Kansas on a little 7-0 run. When we come back between those two teams with those teams, Joe Lunardi is with us live from Bristol. Joe, did you do that on purpose? Did you know Miles was going to be picking that part of the bracket? You wanted a Kansas-Arizona rematch?
Who, me? I would never do such a thing. I knew he'd take Arizona. But Miles, you picked against my Hawks. I'm not talking to you, man.
Oh, okay. So Miles will be quiet. I'll just talk to Joe here. How's that? Hey, Joe, we want to get right to it because there's a lot to talk about. It's your busy time of the year. As of right now, you've got 7 Big 12 teams in. And I thought it was interesting. Texas Tech now seems like the bottom team of the Big 12 that's in is pretty comfortably in the field of 68.
Yeah, and it even surprised me a little bit when it fell out this week that they were an 8th seed. Really remarkable to get 70% of your teams in the tournament, period. But if they all end up in the top half of the bracket as a single-digit seed, I think that would end any debate about which is the best conference this season.
Joe, when you look at the teams that you have on your 2-seed line right now, Virginia, Xavier, Iowa, and Michigan State, which one of those 4 teams do you think is likely or has the greatest chance to get up and be the 1 seed?
I think in the short run, maybe Xavier, because they have a huge opportunity tomorrow night against Villanova at home. But looking down the line here in the 2.5 weeks we still have, if Michigan State runs the table here and wins the Big Ten tournament, it'd be pretty unusual not to have the Spartans recognized and a Big Ten team on the top line.
Dave Fleming, Miles Simon here from Waco. Nice move by Al Freeman. He'll have a chance for a three-point play. Just another minute with Joe Lunardi, our bracket expert. It's his time of year. You said something last night, Joe. I was watching you at halftime of Virginia-Miami. I thought it was a really interesting comment. Usually this time of year, you're spending time on the bubble teams, who's in, who's out. This year, a lot of your time on those #1 seeds. All of those #1s and #2s that Miles talking about week to week seem to be in so much flux.
And the reason is, this is probably the weakest group of #1 seeds in all the years I've been doing bracketology. In fact, the profiles of all 4 right now, none of them would have been 1 seeds a year ago compared to the 4 teams that were on the top line this time in 2015.
Well, Joe Lunardi, it's his time of year. We'll be paying attention to all your stuff, your daily, weekly updates, those teams from the Big 12 who seem to be in such great position. Thanks for giving us a few minutes, Joe.
You bet, guys.
And really, I mean, just to follow up, Miles, the Big 12, he said it. End the discussion about which conference is best this year if you get 7 teams out of 10 and all of them are single-digit seeds.
Yeah, truly amazing. And as we've gone through this conference the last 2 months, I mean, the games that we've called, it's just been night in and night out, truly a grind in this league.
And another matchup tonight that feels like a real good one. The second-ranked team in the country on the road against #19 Baylor, coming off a monster performance in Austin over the weekend against a good Texas team that hadn't lost themselves at home all year. Well, Kansas right now, his #2 overall seed, a #1 seed. Oklahoma right there as well. Mason pulls up, and Frank Mason, another shot from outside.
Nice patience by Mason. He gets the little ball screen for Landon Lucas, but then bad transition defense. Jayhawks don't know who they're guarding.
Yeah, as good as the 3 for Kansas was on this side of the court, Bill Self will be very unhappy with that on the defensive side. Well, Freeman with the answer. Selden over the top, too strong, out of bounds.
Jayhawks not getting much penetration inside the zone. The Baylor guards at the front have been really active, have had great communication when they're switching off at the top of the zone.
Prince over to Freeman, who has the hot hand these last couple of minutes. Now Ellis switched off on Freeman. Green deflected it out of bounds.
And you see Kansas, they're comfortable switching Perry Ellis, especially when it gets late in the clock, onto the guards of really any team in this league.
Shot clock at 11.
Watch for the high ball screen.
There's Motley with the screen. Medford, little crossover 3, good. Timeout, Kansas.
Well, Lester Medford, he reads the switch, gets the hands down, knocks down the 3. Baylor up 1.
.30, it's Kawhi Leonard and the Spurs in Sacramento to take on Boogie Cousins and the Kings. NBA countdown at 7:30. Both games on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Out of the timeout, Kansas has the ball. Baylor's defense has been active in the first half, but so has Perry Ellis. Had a good look, just missed it. Prince, Baylor's been looking to push tempo. Prince will go back to the free throw line.
Well, there you see some of Prince's versatility, able to go coast to coast right there and give the crossover against Perry Ellis and get all the way to the rack and draw the foul.
Torian Prince, he's a different style player than most. Very interesting player. He's turned himself into a great player.
Well, what he does, he causes matchup problems in this league, especially when he's playing the power forward spot.
He did come up limping a little bit after that play. Misses the first of 2 free throws. Did he turn his ankle? Yeah, maybe a little bit. That
rolled
left
that left ankle a little bit. But the progression of Torrey Prince as a player has been tremendous. He was a center in high school, a young man from Earl Warren High School in San Antonio, had signed at LIU Brooklyn. Just a guy who works on his game, got better in his ball handling, his shooting, could always rebound and defend. But now has put himself on the map for being a possible NBA draft pick this coming June.
7-0 Baylor run. Kind of reminds you of Devontae Graham of Kansas, who has the ball now, signed originally with Appalachian State and has turned into one of the best players of the Big 12. Good pass from Mikhailuk down low to Perry Ellis.
And that was a great catch by Ellis. And then the thing I loved about the finishing move, he went to a 2-foot jump stop, gathered, and went up strong.
Svi Mikhailuk, who came off the bench against Kansas State over the weekend and gave Bill Self a real boost. Shot clock under 10. Medford this time going to the basket all the way.
Where's the Kansas post defenders? They worked on this at shoot around. They said they were going to stay with Medford till he gave up the basketball. He's done that twice where he's turned the corner and got all the way to the rim tonight. Adjustment will have to be made.
Mikhailuk again with a pass down low. Mikhailuk almost traveled, kept his balance. Graham three.
And that play was set up by Mikhailuk. He's really the first guard that's been able to get in the paint off the dribble, turns the corner, finds Ellis, then the extra pass for the three-point shot.
Big reason Kansas leads those three-point shooting numbers. 4 of 7 as a team in the first half. Motley, spin move. Lucas, good defense, forced the turnover.
And here's Mikhailuk with the beautiful drive right down the lane line. He draws the defenders. You see he sucks in 4 or 5 Baylor Bears, and then Perry Ellis with the beautiful extra pass that leads to the three-point make.
It's nice to have a 6'8" player who can help you with your ball handling, create like that.
And Mikhailuk hasn't had a problem in practice. Self has said he's always one of the best practice players. It just hasn't translated to the games.
Graham back to Mason, wide open three. In and out this time. And maybe a run out for Baylor. Medford. Kansas's defense got back.
Freeman wants to attack one-on-one.
Instead hits that jumper and misses it. Motley though on the offensive glass. Baylor will reset. Prince three. Good. Back and forth game in Waco. 4 ties, 6 lead changes, and a lot of Frank Mason.
What a finish. He's so physically strong. And when he gets low and puts his shoulders down and drops his hip, nobody's going to stop him from getting to the rim. And then the great body control to finish on the other side.
Playing so well. Medford against Mikhailuk. Does a pretty good job staying in front of him. Out of bounds off of the Jayhawks. 10 seconds on the shot clock for Baylor. Can't hide in those uniforms.
No, you can see them very well.
Should be easy to find your man on defense. Wainwright three. Lucas with the defensive rebound.
The transition D of the Baylor Bears in the first half has actually been really tremendous. Slowing down the Jayhawks, making them play a half-court game.
Perry Ellis will shoot a three, hits the three.
Most improved part of his game going into his senior season. Coach Self had him work behind the NBA line all summer in the Kansas practice gym. They put the line down there so he can increase his range, and it's worked perfectly, nearly 50% from behind the arc.
Great look to Motley from Medford.
Medford, such a good passer. Great in the pick and roll.
Medford still top 10 of the country in assists per game. Ellis passed up the three. Late shot clock, Mikhailuk. No good, Motley rebound. Interesting how much Baylor's looking to push tempo in this first half. Off of Kansas, Motley helped get an extra possession for Baylor. They'll have that possession when we come back right after this.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips.
Lunardi can do it all. He's teasing at halftime. He's coming up with the brackets. Here is 1 and 2 seeds. You get 2 Big East, 2 Big 10, 2 Big 12, 2 ACC, no SEC, no Pac-12 teams.
Well, the team I like, I'm going to pick up what Joe told us earlier. The Xavier Musketeers and Chris Mack, their team is really good. If you haven't watched them play, they have a big game at the Cintas Center against Villanova on Wednesday night. Villanova hammered them. Actually, in December when they played their first league game, Edmund Sumner took a hard fall in that game, that point guard. But they're a deep team. They can defend. They can shoot the three. They have all the pieces to make a run at the national championship this year.
Shot clock at 10 for Baylor out of the timeout. Bounce pass down low. Rico gathers back in. Missed the shot. Wainwright tried to follow dunk. Missed that. Now he's wide open for a 3 look. Pass that up. And he scores off the glass.
What a finish. Ish Wainwright changes his body in the air. The long arms, the soft touch off the glass. Really having a great junior season.
So Wainwright and Baylor back up by 1. 2.5 minutes to go.
First possession of man for the Bears.
Ellis, open look, missed that 3. And that's a foul against Landon Lucas. His first personal. Well, Ish Wainwright, you were talking about him and the progression he's made as a player. Also has a really interesting connection to Kansas. He grew up in Kansas City, and he was telling us before the game, his grandfather, Maurice King, was an all-time great Kansas player. And Kansas is wearing these throwback uniforms in celebration of Black History Month, and Maurice King was one of the very first African-American players to play at Kansas. Was a teammate of Wilt Chamberlain on that national runner-up team. Had a nice long NBA career. Tip up by Gathers, no good. Lucas defensive rebound. So the uniforms that Kansas is wearing tonight in part to honor Baylor's Ish Wainwright's grandfather.
Yeah, and I like the look, the block lettering, Kansas across the chest.
Selden finds Mikhailuk wide open for 3.
Mikhailuk's confidence continues to grow and grow. The more minutes that he gets, remember, he's only 18 years old, turned 18 last June, could still be a freshman by age-wise in college.
Yeah, such an X factor feels like for Kansas if he keeps this up. Freeman against Mikhailuk. Gathers on the offensive glass. Gets his own miss out of bounds off of Rico Gathers. Well, there's Wilt Chamberlain in his great Kansas days, but next to him another excellent player, all-time Jayhawks great, Maurice King. Played with Wilt in college, played with Bill Russell in the NBA, and Ish Wainwright's granddad.
And we were talking to Ish today at shoot-around, and the story just recently came out. He didn't think it was that big of a deal, so he had really never told anybody who he was. And now it's come out, and then he was getting text, and media wants to talk to him about it, you know, and find out more about his family history.
Yeah, yo, Ish, your granddad was real good. We wanted to know. Carlton Bragg down low, trying to feed Lucas, who was fouled by Gathers. First foul on Rico Gathers. Man, this first half has gone back and forth. So much different from the first meeting between these two teams. Not a lot of whistles overall.
No, really a competitive game. Both teams playing very smart, very hard. The zone has made Kansas work, has taken them out of transition.
Bragg missed the shot on the inbound play. Loose ball. Gathers takes it away. Carlton Bragg is not going to win that wrestling match with Rico Gathers.
Most 50-50 balls go to Rico.
Yeah, for good reason. Motley was wide open. Medford just couldn't get the ball to him. He's going to try now, and he does. He gives it up. Gathers scores.
all created by Medford. Probing along the baseline.
Six ties, 9 lead changes. We're tied now. Game clock and shot clock almost exactly synced up. Selden, runner, offensive foul on Wayne Selden with 1.9 seconds still to go. His second, he has not scored.
Well, here's the drive. May have gotten away with a little push off right there, but Rico gathers, steps in, takes that charge, clearly outside of the restricted area.
So we'll see if Baylor can dial up a play here. You have time for a dribble or two.
Now they worked on this, their home run play. Look for them to try to get it to Rico Gathers and for him to attack.
Wainwright was a good baseball player. He's the baseball pass thrower. Gathers, launches, good!
Well, an unlikely candidate. It was a bad pass that took Rico Gathers really to the corner of the end zone behind the three-point line. His first made 3 of the season. He dials it up, gets his feet set over the outstretched arms of Landon Lucas. Rico Gathers, pure.
Not only his first one of the year, that's the first 3 made of his Baylor career. How about that? Pretty amazing way to finish the first half. Baylor leads.
Body bump, Rico Gathers. But you know what the coolest thing was, too? He makes that 3, and he acted like he's done that 1,000 times.
Okay, that ain't me, by the way, over there. That's a big dude. Oh, Rico was...
But Rico was a man in the first half. He was the difference maker for Baylor getting the lead. Not only the three-point shot, obviously, but he cuts in, gets 6 rebounds, scores 7 points in only 7 minutes of action.
And after the first possession of the game, almost literally, Kansas just got destroyed on the glass. That's a nice assist from Mason to Selden.
Now, right now, I'm sure Coach Self had to talk to his team about the rebounding numbers, because Kansas gets 11 rebounds. 6 of those were in the first 2 minutes. So they only got 5 rebounds in the last 18 minutes of the half. Baylor Bears, 13 offensive rebounds.
Couple threes passed up. Prince gets closer and scores.
Bill Self throws down his stat sheet. He's that's just too easy. You got to sit down in a stance if you're the Kansas Jayhawks. Take pride in guarding your guy one-on-one and shutting him down. And then when the ball goes up, you got to be a more physical team and put your body on guys.
Not a good pass.
And Selden is out of sync. I think he's going to come out of the game.
Yeah, he had a rough first half. His first 2 points of the game were that first bucket, but he goes right to the bench.
And sometimes this is the biggest concern if you're Bill Self, the Kansas Jayhawks, Jayhawk fans, is the inconsistency of Selden. In their 3 conference losses, he's averaged less than 10 points per game. Today, 0 points. 0 for 3 from the field with 3 turnovers.
Prince, no good on the 3. Motley just outworks Lucas and gets the offensive rebound. And Baylor is a really good rebounding team, so it's not a shock that they're having success on the glass.
But you got to know, if you know that coming in because you've gotten the scouting report, then you know you have to do a better job and be more concentrated on the glass.
Well, that'll count as another offensive board. The tip back didn't go. Mason all the way. Mason, count the basket with a foul.
First fast break points of the game for the Jayhawks. Mason with no numbers, but he just attacks. Medford has his feet inside of that yellow restricted arc. The block is called. Mason with the strong finish.
Well, Frank Mason sure had a good first half.
Well, we've seen a couple drives from Mason, the one where he went to the other side of the rim with the great body control. Coach Andrea Hootie, one of the best strength and conditioning coaches in the country, says he has great body control and excellent fast twitch muscles. The best athlete on this team.
Misses the free throw, so no three-point play, and Baylor still has a 1-point lead. Selden right back in the game. Freeman, step back. No good. Wainwright on the offensive glass.
Ellis mistimed his jump. But in saying that, he's got to go put a body on Wainwright right there, and then that way he'll have the freedom to just grab it when it does come off the rim.
I mean, Perry Ellis does not have a rebound in this game. Now Freeman, good defense, steals it away. Now Freeman looking like a confident player. Not a good pass, though. Mason one-on-one with Medford. Wainwright trails and blocks it off the backboard. Medford pull up. No good. And Frank Mason hustles. So does Wainwright, really. It's off of Wainwright. Kansas will have the ball.
Well, here's the opportunity, and Ish Wainwright comes and gets it. You can't tell from that angle if it hits the backboard first or not. But Wainwright with the hustle.
If it hits the backboard first, it's a goaltend.
If it's above the rim.
If it's above the rim. Which in that case it was. Lucas, who's just really not looking to score unless he's right at the rim.
Well, Lucas should be able to take a power dribble and get right to the front of the rim. He's only 10 feet away from the basket.
Shot clock down to 3. Graham knows it. No good. Lucas got a hand on it, but it's out of bounds off of Lucas.
Now, once the clock starts winding down, Graham or Mason needs to put the ball on the floor and try to penetrate and attack and make something happen on that possession. They were content to just pass the ball around the perimeter.
Baylor has not lost a game when they led in the second half. That's a pretty remarkable number. They lead by 3 here in the second half tonight. Freeman, floater, too strong, but a foul call. Not on the shot. That was fighting for position for the defensive rebound, where Kansas is still really struggling. And we haven't even seen Rico Gathers yet after halftime. We'll see him soon.
Well, you felt Gathers just brought great energy and excitement to the floor when he came on, and obviously the physical presence changes the game.
Wainwright trying to get it to Motley, who had Lucas pinned. They just couldn't quite get it to him. Prince switched to the left hand. Good defense by Kansas. Graham was almost out of bounds. Good look from Selden. Mason 3 off the front of the iron. Freeman one-on-one. This little step through draws a foul. Bodies flying everywhere. Very hotly. This kind of knocked him out of the starting lineup. His minutes are down, just trying to conserve his energy. He's playing like a man who's got all the energy in the world tonight, though.
He really is, and he just comes in and he doesn't try to do things that he's not capable of. He posts up big, he offensive rebounds, he defends as hard as he can, and then he impacts the game.
Biggest lead for Baylor. Both free throws good for Freeman. It's a 5-point advantage.
Kansas switches up their zone offense, goes to a little bit more movement now with some ball screens at the top.
Selden picked up his dribble. Now a foul on Motley. His second.
Now, in some of the possessions in the first half where they were really effective, they got the ball to Perry Ellis either in the short corner or the high post, and he made a play for himself or for others. Let's see if somehow they can incorporate Ellis back on the offensive end.
Jamari Traylor had it knocked away, stolen by Wainwright.
You have to know in the zone, if one of the post guys picks you up, there's always a guard or a wing coming from behind to double team. Traylor, lack of awareness.
Medford with the shot fake. Good defense from Devontae Graham. He's had another quiet offensive game tonight, but he's really turned into a good defender. Wainwright open three, good.
Most improved player on this team. The penetration by Medford leads to the spot up by Ish Wainwright. Things going easy for the Bears. Up 8 at the Farrell.
Saturday night package in the NBA now. Warriors Thunder in Oklahoma City. Both games on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app.
Carolina had a huge bounce-back win, dominating performance against the Miami Hurricanes, and then Virginia on Monday loses on the road where they've struggled mightily to the Miami Hurricanes.
Selden to Ellis, down low, draws a foul.
Nice pass by Selden, and I feel he should do more of that. Selden's a guy that has maybe the most ability or most talent on this team. He can put the ball on the floor. He's physically strong. He has long arms. He's athletic. He can shoot the ball, but sometimes you feel like he's just going through the motions out there.
That was a good play to create for his teammates. So Perry Ellis at the line to shoot 2. Only the 6th free throw attempt for the Jayhawks as a team. Ellis did finally get his first rebound. Made them both. Not a ton of free throws on either side.
This is where you feel Kansas needs to make a run.
Gathers, good defense by Jamari Traylor. I thought that was off of Traylor, and it was.
With the lineup that's in for the Baylor Bears, no Taurean Prince, no Jonathan Motley. So they've kind of sized down, see if Kansas can put consecutive stops together and try to make a run on the offensive end of the floor.
Prince leads Baylor with 10 points. Motley, since those early moments, has been relatively quiet.
Look for Medford in ball screens.
Matched up with Ellis. Finds Maston, who used that right hand, which for him is his offhand. He uses both, but that was a nice move by Maston. See if Selden can do that again. Finds Mason. Now he finds Graham, who hits the 3.
But that play was created by Selden twice. He penetrated once, sucked in the defense, made a move, then got the ball back, and then a quick swing, a touch pass. Like the unselfishness by Wayne Selden.
7 made threes for the Jayhawks. It has become, these last couple of years, such a bigger part of Bill Self's offense. Down low, Gathers. One dribble. Couldn't get the shot off, though. Trying to get it back down low to Rico Gathers. Here's Maston. And he was fouled by Ellis.
And we watch on the other end, Wayne Selden just making plays. Splits the defense, gets the drive, then replaces himself. He doesn't stand. And then that allows the extra pass, and then the three-point shot by Graham. Excellent offensive possession by Wayne Selden and the Jayhawks.
More assists than points tonight so far.
And remember, they've struggled in games that he hasn't scored. Their 3 losses in conference play, he has averaged less than 10 points per game. So let's see if he can find some points for the Jayhawks. He's their 2nd leading scorer.
Taurean Prince back in. King McClure, another young player, a freshman in the game for Baylor. Prince off the pass from McClure, too short. And now maybe a run out opportunity for Selden. Prince reached in and fouled him.
That's a good call. One of the few transition opportunities. Prince rakes him across the arm. Excellent call by the official. And almost better that Prince got him early before he was going up. Make him set in the half court.
Kansas ball, but no free throws. Mason on the move. Mason uses the glass.
Such a tough shot. I don't think people at home understand how difficult of a shot that is. The hard drive and then to stop and plant and float it up from about 7 or 8 feet off the glass. Great touch.
Good hustle by Traylor. Ball ricochets to Gathers, who flips it back near midcourt. And Baylor, feeling like things were a little disorganized there, wants a timeout. We'll take a timeout ourselves. Back right after this. Buddy Hield for this year's award.
Yeah, Buddy Hield is the front rider right now. The Denzel Valentine nipping at his heels, but Niang and Perry Ellis having a first-team All-American type seasons. I was fortunate enough to be in the Final Five for the Wooden Award. It's really a special event. They get to go to LA. At the time, I got to be with John Wooden in 1998. But a super special award to be considered for.
Swarming Kansas defense with the shot clock winding down, and Mason gets a hand on it, knocks it into the backcourt. Lester Medford from behind the midcourt line did hit the rim, and Baylor comes away with a rebound.
How about the heads-up play by Medford to get the shot off and then have enough accuracy to get it to the rim?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, this is a tight game. That extra possession could be very meaningful.
Mismatch, Prince against Mason. They try to go in the post.
Motley against Traylor. Motley had his shot blocked, tipping it up, keeping it alive, but now the Jayhawks come away with the ball. The intensity level has really picked up for Kansas. I think Traylor has had something to do with that. He's all over the place, and there he is under the basket.
What a pass by Devontae Graham. And you're right, Jamari Traylor is a guy who just brings his hard hat every day. His minutes aren't necessarily consistent game in and game out, but his effort when he is in there, he plays his minutes hard.
7-0 Kansas run, down by 1 after that biggest lead for Baylor of 8.
And they were able to get into that lead with Motley and Prince not on the floor.
Motley had a pretty good look. Gathers tipped it up, no good.
Jayhawks much better on the defensive backboard in the second half.
Traylor scores, and Kansas is back in front.
Jamari Traylor, one of the best personalities on this team. His teammates love him. You never have to worry about his work ethic. And now he's impacting the game for the Jayhawks.
He's been a big reason why Kansas is on a run to lead by 1. Talking a little football, watching a little college hoops.
I was still mesmerized by what Art Briles and the Baylor staff did down. Was it 3 quarterbacks they didn't have?
Yep.
And they just run the ball and set rushing records in their bowl game. It was unbelievable, the adjustments that they made in a 3 or 4 week time for that bowl game. It was truly tremendous.
Had 12 practices or whatever it is to get ready for the bowl game. Ran for 700 yards, running a totally new offense.
12 practices and completely changed their offense. That's great. That's great coaching.
Great coaching. He is.
But you got to give some credit to the players for being able to adapt and adjust to that so quickly.
They used, what, 6 or 7 different Wildcat quarterbacks in that bowl game. Here's Motley. And Baylor's got a bunch of kids on this basketball team who you feel like could be good football players, including that guy. Yeah, Rico Gathers 7.7 rebounds. Tonight when he knocked down that gentleman going into the locker room at halftime, that was his NFL combine.
That's the new event at the combine.
Yeah.
The body bump.
Yeah, we're going to find the biggest guy we can and see if you can knock him to the ground. Well, there is a lot of talk, and Rico says he's open to at least the idea of an NFL future.
And I think one of the reasons why is because he has a young son now, and he's going to do whatever it takes to pay the bills and take care of his family.
12 lead changes, 7 ties. Baylor back up by a point after the free throws.
It's got to be the perimeter guys with no Perry Ellis in on the offensive end right now.
Mason, Graham, shot clock at 5. Graham, pass deflected. Traylor's got to get it off, doesn't do it.
And Bill Self, he's telling Mason, that's on you. That's your fault. You got to get the ball in your hands. You got to be the leader, the conductor, and someone has to peek their eyes up to the clock. When you have to have an internal clock if you're a guard to know, okay, we've passed the ball about 10 times. That means the clock is winding down. Couple shot clock violations for the Jayhawks today.
10 turnovers for Kansas. Baylor's only turned it over 6 times. Medford, not a great pass, knocked away by Mason. So that is a Baylor turnover.
Good transition defense by the Bears.
Graham 3 is good.
Dave, he's been white hot from behind the arc in the last few games. 22 of 42 field goals, including 46% from the 3 in his last 5.
Now a 12-2 Kansas run after that 3 by Graham. Motley fouled by Lucas.
Well, the thing you like about Devontae Graham is he kind of relocates without the basketball, and that was NBA range right there, but he comes off shot ready. He gets his feet planted quick, his knees bent, gets great lift on the shot, and holds his follow through.
You and I were there this weekend in Manhattan, and we were talking to Coach Self about it this afternoon, about how he was so quiet, wasn't making his shots all game long, and then at the end of the game, when they absolutely needed it, he made the most critical basket of the game.
Had a huge step-back jumper.
That's a mistake on Traylor, and that's his 4th foul. So Jamari Traylor has been a difference maker when he's been on the floor with his defense, with his energy. Is in foul trouble with 8:24 to go. Barry Ellis will come back in, and Traylor will go to the bench. He was in foul trouble on Saturday.
If you're Baylor, keep running the play and the little cross screen maybe for Jonathan Motley. Good D by Lucas.
Lucas gets his hand on the pass. Motley catches anyway. Spin move, no good. Tip ball. Who's going to get it? Torian Prince. Freeman 3. Good. Baylor back ahead. Graham trying to draw some contact. Another little shot fake. Finds Lucas baseline, way short. Taking a while to get the play call from the bench, and I'm not sure they still have it. Wainwright comes open anyway. Ellis grabs a rebound. Under 7 minutes to go. Ellis couldn't handle it. Wainwright, what a look. Motley, though, had it knocked out of bounds. That was great hustle. And I think they just called that out of bounds.
Well, Al Freeman off the offensive rebound, one of the best times to knock down a three-point shot. The rotation doesn't get there. And for conference season, you thought that this might be the year that the streak ends. But they need to pull out this victory tonight. They still have another tough road game at Texas next week.
And it counts if they share the title, but it certainly would be important as Medford misses the jumper. Baylor's gone cold. They're 1 for their last 9 as a team. Just picked West Virginia in second place. But a shared portion of the Big 12 championship would be huge for them. Brandon Green kick ball against Baylor. Hadn't played much in the second half. Off the bench now. Amazing. Kansas got those 6 offensive rebounds. Those were the first 2 possessions of the game. First minute and a half. They have 1 offensive rebound as a team since then. Talking about 30 minutes of hoops. Plus, Green. And
Lucas has to attack.
Yeah,
I mean, they're giving him 7 feet of space, and Lucas doesn't want to attack.
They literally didn't guard him.
Yeah, they're not guarding him. He's 10 feet from the basket. Landon Lucas is 6 feet 10. He can take one dribble, and he could be right in the paint and have a chance to shoot, but he's so hesitant. Either they're going to have to put Perry Ellis in that position or Jamari Traylor, but they don't like to lose Lucas's defensive presence on the floor, but on the offensive end, he's a liability right now.
And those rebounds tell a huge part of the story because the field goal percentage so much in favor of Kansas. Baylor has not shot the ball well. Prince slipped and lost it. Selden, good look to Green, who missed the layup. And then it goes out of bounds off of Brandon Green. I thought that was a pretty good pass.
Yeah, but sometimes it's tough for Brandon Green in this situation. So he barely plays in the first half. Then you go to the halftime locker room. That's another 15 to 20 minutes of break. Then you don't play until about the 7-minute mark of the second half. He's coming off the bench very, very cold. Sometimes a hard play to make.
Baylor, despite the cold shooting, still leading by 1. Their biggest lead was 8. Medford picked up his dribble. And Scott Drew can't call the timeout, so he was yelling at Medford, hey, call the timeout yourself. And they do get it. Baylor, is that their last timeout? They're out of them for the rest of the game. So that could be pretty important.
Guys that there are Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Iguodala, Steph. And I know that's something that they'll desire.
I'll call him after the game.
You do that.
Ask him.
I'm sure you can get the connection. You are a Bay Area legend.
The Warriors, man, they are just such an unbelievable story in sports right now. Baylor out of that timeout. Shot clock at 12. Taurean Prince, tough shot, no good. And a foul, I think, against Baylor. Yeah, it's against the Bears.
That's a good defensive possession by the Jayhawks. They were more physical on the blockout. Everybody put a body on guys. Great contest by Wayne Selden on the drive. Now you have to see where's the answer going to come from against this zone.
I think they've played good defense. They haven't rebounded defensively very well. Here's a lob, and Selden couldn't catch it cleanly. Does save it in bounds, though. That was kind of an incredible athletic play by Selden.
Well, that was a heck of a play. That was drawn up in the timeout. They knew they were going to come down and run that play the next time they got to the half court. Selden, the ball just goes through his hands.
Dangerous pass. Graham catches, though. Mason, nifty dribbling, but missed the shot. Lucas on the offensive glass is fouled by Prince.
Well, that's a great job by Landon Lucas, just getting position on the offensive glass. He's the guy that Coach Bill Self really trusts to be in the right place and the right time on both ends of the floor.
Well, we've seen the offensive limitations. We know about those. He does a lot of other things well, though. Jayhawks have not scored in about 4 minutes. Baylor's gone almost as long themselves. So the defensive have taken over in this second half. Mason again with the ball handling, and this time he finishes.
Tough. He's made a couple hard drives with the sweet floaters.
He's got 15. Kansas back ahead. 15th lead change of the night. Freeman 3. Good. Make it 16.
Graham closed too short. Freeman's more of a threat to drive this year, but the catch and shoot was wide open.
Good look from Lucas, and probably a good foul from Gathers to make Ellis earn it at the free throw line. He'll try to do that when we come back, coming down the home stretch. Baylor by 2.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Hotels.com.
Shot is the difference in the game. Rico back on the bench and not happy.
No, something very upset him on the previous possession. I know he was called for the foul, but I don't know if it was the defensive rotation or him being taken out of the basketball game. He's obviously one of the best competitors in all of college basketball, wants to be in there.
Tie game, 55-55. Medford weaving his way through the defense. He goes behind the back with the dribbling. Still dribbling.
Good defense by the Jayhawks.
Now it's Medford against Ellis, and they'll use a screen from Motley. And they couldn't get it to Motley. Great adjustment by Lucas.
That was a tremendous defensive possession. The switching, the talking. Medford too much dribbling, didn't move the ball.
Graham had it poked away.
They got advantage, got numbers.
Selden three. Off iron. Lucas offensive rebound. One dribble puts it in.
Huge play by Landon Lucas, and I spoke about it 4 or 5 minutes ago. He had been a liability on offense when they give it to him in the short corner, but there's where he specializes, gets position on the weak side and is able to gather and convert.
Al Freeman has played well. He's got 14, looking for 2 more. Not this time. There's Lucas on the glass.
The Kansas defense in the second half has been tremendous.
Mason finds Graham. That one way too strong.
What a rebound.
Look at Selden.
Dave, he had almost that same exact rebound on Saturday night against Kansas State in a huge possession. And look at this, and it's going to lead to a free throw opportunity.
Man, Mason hit the floor hard.
And I spoke about Wayne Selden being one of the best athletes on this team, can affect the game in so many. Look at that, he's skies above everybody. He is head and shoulders above the rest of the team. And Mason takes one on top of his head, and he's going to go to the line for 2 shots. But he's hurting pretty bad.
Yeah, bad.
I mean, Mason took a blow, looks like to the back of the head or the neck area. And for him to be in this much pain, he is a tough, tough young man. When he delivers a blow to Motley, he jumped into Motley there. But then he draws the foul.
Yeah, and whether, I mean, it could have been a blow or maybe just like a tweak of his neck.
And he's still bent over in the huddle.
I mean, whatever it was, you're right. He is in a lot of pain. He's got 17. His career high is 21. So he's played a heck of a game for the Jayhawks, who lead by 2. 2:14 to go, and he'll stay in the game to shoot the 2 free throws. No good on the first. By the way, after that Big Ten matchup over on ESPN, Michigan State, Ohio State tonight. Keep it locked on ESPN Sports Center at night. And tonight it's Kevin Connors and Steve Levy. College hoops, NBA, NHL, spring training on ESPN Sports Center at night. And we'll have all the highlights of this one. Mason makes 1 of 2. He's not right. Bill Self is yelling at him, trying to see if he's okay.
And if I'm Lester Medford, I'm testing him on the defensive end.
Only 1 field goal made for Baylor in the last 6+ minutes. Prince makes it.
Nice composure by Prince. Good gather on the jump stop.
Ellis right down the lane with the left hand, no good. Lucas kept it alive for Selden. And Kansas wants a timeout.
They might have to get Mason out of the game.
They might.
Because Mason is not even really able to lift his head up. He's still grabbing at the backside of his neck.
Well, Mason's not coming out of the game.
Tough as they come.
Lob play. This time Selden goes up and gets it. Beautiful delivery from Graham.
What a draw by Bill Self to have confidence to go back to it a second time after it didn't work a few minutes ago.
Tremendous by Kansas.
How many coaches or teams will have the guts to throw a lob with the game on the line with less than 2 minutes to go?
Medford, step back, tough shot, no good. Rebound, Mason. That's a three-point game. Baylor doesn't necessarily have to foul. And it looks like they're not going to.
Watch for the ball screen coming.
Here's Graham over to Mason. Shot clock winding down. Wayne Selden. Scoop is good. I think, did Kansas call the timeout after the basket? They did. Baylor doesn't have any timeouts left. Wow, what a sequence for Wayne Selden and the Jayhawks.
That's a heck of a drive by Wayne Selden.
He had had such a tough game, but at the end of the game, he's been big. It was just a clock adjustment. 5-point lead. It's a 9-2 run for Kansas. Baylor's got to go, and they got to go quickly. Medford throws it away. Mason fouled by Wainwright.
Well, not many programs or players or teams will have the guts to throw a lob. The beautiful back screen by Landon Lucas on Jonathan Motley, and then Wayne Selden gets up high to throw it down hard and give the Jayhawks the advantage here in the last minute of this basketball game.
Well, Mason, who's playing hurt here down the stretch.
Dave, I think tonight you saw some real championship, and I'm talking national championship attributes by this Kansas team. You get pounded on the glass tonight, but the defense has been rock solid, especially in the second half. Baylor's had trouble scoring the basketball. Kansas has grinded it out in a half-court game, and they've had different guys step up once again.
I think you're right. This is their biggest lead. Baylor still a chance. Motley runs the floor. They got to shoot fast. Prince for three. No good. And that's been the story here in the last few seconds. Baylor fouls with 8.2 seconds left. The Jayhawks are going to come away with a very impressive road win.
And when Kansas needed it the most, they controlled the glass in the last 5 minutes of the game. On the offensive side of the glass, Landon Lucas with a couple big offensive boards, Wayne Selden with a huge one. Then on the defensive side, we're able to put bodies on guys and hold Baylor to one shot during critical possessions.
Double bonus for Landon Lucas. You saw those quick glance at the standings. Lucas makes the first of two. Kansas, they win this game. They'll have a 2-game lead with 3 to go.
A win on Saturday night at Fog Allen Fieldhouse against the Texas Tech Red Raiders guarantees the Kansas Jayhawks at least a share of the Big 12 title once again.
That would extend the streak. And it feels like that is pretty likely because Kansas has not lost at home in a long time. Freeman 3 is good. Too little too late for Baylor. Final 1.6 seconds. A foul by Wainwright. So you know Fog Allen will be rocking on Saturday with a chance to extend what is one of the more remarkable streaks in college sports right now. 3 different times they've had to replace their entire starting 5 in this stretch of 11 years. I mean, the Big 12 has had so many good teams in that era.
And with so many good teams for the Jayhawks and so many good players going, the pressure mounts every year because you don't want to be the team that ends the streak. And it's something that these guys they have to think about, because everybody talks about it on whether it's social media or us calling their games. And it's important to this group to keep it going.
Well, this one was impressive because a lot was not going right for Kansas. They were down at one point by 8 here in the second half. That was midway through the second half. A 13-5 run to close out this game. And that'll do it. The Jayhawks, second-ranked team in the country, on the road, now 1 win away from clinching at least a share of their 12th straight Big 12 championship. That's remarkable. The big plays down the stretch for Frank Mason and his teammates. Kansas gets the win, 66-60. For Miles Simon and our entire ESPN crew, Dave Fleming saying so long from Waco after the Jayhawks